Welcome ladies and gentlemaniacs. If you've watched my walkthrough videos, welcome back, and if you're new here, a very warm welcome to you too. This video is a follow-on from my efficiency walkthrough, where I stayed as low level as possible to show people that this method really was for anyone. There's no skill required with my build, and it's very fun to use too. If you watch to the end of part 2 of the walkthrough, you'll know that my next goal is to progress through Leyndell capital, enter the frozen area and get the Rivers of Blood katana at the lowest level possible. So, let's get into it. I killed Morgott outside Leyndell and then went over to the Draconic tree Sentinal. The first time I tried to kill this boss on my main account, it took 30 to 50 attempts and I was using Bloodhound curved sword. He is tough, but as you can see with this build, he was no problem. Even to the point where I thought that they may have actually nerfed him. Let me know if that's the case. Our build is based on build-up effects such as Rotten Breath and Bleed, and it's really powerful because the more health the enemy has, the more bleed damage they take. And every time you're making space or wanting to heal and recast, the health's just getting melted away by Rotten Breath. Then it was time to face Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. Now, this boss threw a spanner in the works because Godfrey is a spirit, which means he can't bleed and he can't be affected by anything like poison or rotten breath. I definitely struggled with this one, so I had to think outside the box a little bit. I went and got some minor bell bearings and levelled my weapons up to 13 each, and I put some levels into dexterity so I could wield my Anspur rapier and power stance it with Roger's rapier. I could have got a dexterity talisman, but I'm glad I levelled to 25 now, and I'll explain why as we work our way through the video. For now, let's just watch me struggle with this boss. The Mimic's a great distraction, but Godfrey's got some big sweeping strikes, so I felt like every time I go in, I'd get hit by an attack which wasn't even meant for me. It was definitely a learning curve. I've no idea what my Mimic is doing. He's fighting enemies at the fog wall. Like, I love Mimics, but I'm starting to question whether at level 25 this Mimic's gonna be good enough for me. Oh, hi Mimic. Are you ready to join the fight? Yeah, cheers, that's great. I worked out from this footage that the Mimic has about 2,500 health, which is really good because I only have about 700. But if I was a higher level, it would have much higher health than that. So Mimics are really good, but I'm starting to think they're not that great for me. This was the closest I got to killing Godfrey. I kept going and I did get the kill, but my hard drive filled up and I thought I was recording for like 10-15 minutes, but I didn't record any of the footage, which is so frustrating because you can't just go back and redo the boss. I killed him, but it was hard. Here's a stream of deaths just to apologise for not getting the clip. Sorry. Even the Mimic was having a bad time at this point. I've got a level 80 with the same build which I used before making this low level guide, so I'll show you the kill that I got on that account, and then we'll move on to the next boss. And with that done, it was time to face Morgott. Morgott's going to be so easy because he bleeds and he gets afflicted by rotten breath. Yeah, let's try that again. So the build's going to work to 100% potential here, so this should be relatively easy compared to Godfrey. So we were making good progress, and then I got one hit. And that's when I realised it. Playing the game with 700 health at level 25 at this point is easy. Just don't get hit. Elden Ring's all about learning the boss mechanics and then being ready for them. So this time I was ready and we got the kill. And we've done it. We beat Leyndell Capital, so far at least. Enough to get the Rolled Medallion, and this is what I need to enter the next area and get the Rivers of Blood Katana, so I'm so excited for this.
Shall I turn? Let my hand share them with
As you can see, I'm level 25, and these are my stats on screen.
ambitions.
I needed to get a few more items before heading to the late game. I learnt a really valuable lesson from fighting Godfrey's spirit. The Mimic is just far too weak. He's a brilliant distraction, he's customizable, but he just doesn't have enough HP. By no means am I saying that the Mimic is not a good spirit summon, I'm just saying that because it scales off my stats, it's not good enough because I'm a very low level. I can get hit in one hit, so I needed someone reliable to attract the attention for much longer than the Mimic can. I needed a spirit that was strong, tanky, good close combat and mid-range combat, golden armour, a big great shield, lightning attacks, and not asking too much, but he needs a good name like Kurt or Kane or Christopher. Kristoff. Perfect. As shown in the walkthrough part 2, we got the bell bearings for the Ghost Glove War up to level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I had a 7 and an 8 left over, so I managed to get Kristoff up to level 8 very quickly. There are a few different locations for the level 9, but I thought I'll see how it does first. So I went to Volcanic Manor, and then I got the Cerulean Hidden Tier, which gives you unlimited FP for 10 seconds. I then went down into Leyndell sewers and collected a few helpful items, including Mog's Shackle, which is a super helpful item for later. Made my way down through the dungeon here to the boss and got myself the Lord of Blood's Exultation Talisman, which increases my attack power by 20% for 20 seconds whenever I'm in the vicinity of blood loss. This buff is huge and it lasts ages. I can even self-proc it with Seppuku Ash of War once I get that. So I've currently got a talisman that gives me extra health, Radagon's Saw Seal which gives me a +5 to most stats so I can equip my weapons, Radagon's Icon which increases my cast speed, and Lord of Blood's Exultation which gives me a 20% buff when blood procs in the area, which is a lot of the time considering my build. Now we're in the new area, I didn't waste any time at all. I was so excited to get the Rivers of Blood Katana and I needed it so badly to help me in this area. So of course, we went straight to Okina, and this is how it went down. I'd say that was a pretty epic fight. It took me so long to kill him because he literally one-hit me every time he touched me. But we did it, we traded, and I think that just makes it even more epic. I was so happy that I got the kill in the end, and now I've got the Rivers of Blood Katana, and I can level it up. I did say on the walkthrough part 2 that once I got the Katana I was actually going to level up and play the game properly, but I'm enjoying myself too much at low level. There's so many things that are overpowered in the game, like spirits and the weapons in general are kind of broken at the moment. And I know I don't have to use them, but I want to incorporate all the tools in the game because that's what I find interesting. Having to swap your gear and swap your stats around for different encounters really gets my brain going in these types of games, and I feel like there's always a way to get the job done. It just takes preparation and planning. I may regret this when I get to Melania, Blade of Mikola. Her name is stuck in my head for some reason. Anyway, with that being said, I don't like playing on easy mode, so even though I've got a really powerful build, good weapons, and I'm using spirits, I will die in one hit. With that being the case, I needed to collect a few more items to help me survive and buff up my levels for different encounters. In this clip I'm killing the early game avatar south of Limgrave to get the Opaline bubble tier, which is going to allow me to absorb one hit. And because I die in one hit, this effectively gives me a second chance, which is really powerful. I looked at the crystal tiers on the Elden Ring wiki and had a good idea of what I wanted to pair my bubble tier with. It's a crystal that heals you when you're close to death. It's in the frozen area which we conveniently just unlocked, so it's time to head over there and grab it. I remember this one. The avatar splits into two and he's got loads of health, so it's time to bust out my main man Kristoff and see what he was made of. And that's when I realised he cost 108 FP to summon, and I had 88. These were my stats after I killed Morgott. I had 17 Vigour, 14 Mind, 8 Endurance, 15 Dexterity plus Radagons, which got me to 20 for the Antspur Rapier. Faith is 16 and Arcane was 16, plus the Silver Tier Mask, which puts me to 24. And that's where I saw the opportunity to move some stats around. So I put my Vigour to 17 because I already die in 1 or 2 hits and I can't sacrifice any more HP. Mind went from 14 to 20 in a desperate attempt to get enough FP for Kristoff. Dexterity went back to 13. I only levelled it for the Antspur Rapier anyway, which I'm not going to use anymore, at least for the moment. Faith went from 18, which is the requirement for Black Knife, back down to 16, and I counteracted this by getting the +5 Talisman if I ever wanted to use the Black Knife. Arcane went from 16 back to 12, and by using the Silver Tier Mask, that got me to 20, which is the minimum requirement for Rivers of Blood Katana. So, did I get enough FP to summon Kristoff? Well, no. I still needed some help. Luckily, there's 2 items in the game which increase your FP. One is a talisman at Castle Sol, and the other is a navy blue hood, which I already have, thankfully. So after that little side mission, we came to kill the Erdtree avatar for the Rebirth Crystal Seed. I summoned Kristoff and he was a beast. He's tanky as anything, and if the target gets out of his range, he'll call a Honing Bolt down which does nice damage, and he just spams it, and it has unlimited FP. So he's really good at keeping the aggro, whilst I run about like an idiot. He took one, I took the other, and together we made short work of it. I finally got the crystal tier I was after, and now we can move on to the next stage. The next task was to get the secret medallion which takes you to the Haligtree, where Melania resides. One half is easily obtained by speaking to the geezer hiding in a pot in the lakes of Liurnia. The second half was not so easy to get. I had to go to Castle Sol and beat the boss there, a boss I struggled with even on my level 120. I was not looking forward to this, and you'll see why from the next clips. I really had to think about which talismans I wanted to use. I needed the FP talisman and my mind cloak to summon Kristoff. I was going to use incantations. I needed the Radagons to actually equip my weapon, and then I actually had to go and get the Jar Arsenal talisman because everything that I was equipping was just way too heavy. my fat rolling. What the fuck? Progress. Fucking hell. That took so long. Oh my god. Level 24. Now I can go fight Melania. Fuck. I've no idea what my Mimic is doing. He's fighting enemies at the fog wall. Like, I love mimics, but I'm starting to question whether at level 25 this mimic's gonna be good enough for me. Well, was I wrong about Kristoff? Absolutely not. What a legend he is. I can't believe he saved me with that honing bolt and he just tanked all the way through it. He didn't do so much damage that it felt like he was winning the fight for me, but then at the end as well in phase 2 with the boss, he kept aggro so well. That's the second time I managed to get him into phase 2 and I managed to kill him on that second time. I was so lucky, it's unreal. Absolutely unreal. That was intense. I hope you enjoyed that. Now we can get the medallion and go to the Haligtree, which means unfortunately Melania's coming up soon. I really don't know how I'm going to deal with her, but I'm going to give it a good go. Before I leave the frozen area here, I'm just going to kill one more person that I forgot all about. He's got a really good armor set and it's got a really good poise to weight ratio, so I think it'd be really good for me going even further into the late game. So I'm going to go grab that now. At this point I was exhausted from the boss fight. I just struggled out for probably the best part of an hour, maybe 2 hours, so I wasn't in the best fighting mood, but it wasn't too hard. It's just the fact that I die in one hit, you know, makes it challenging. Yeah, that wasn't too shabby. His armour is great. The full set gives you 40 poise. It doesn't weigh that much at all. It's probably one of the best poise to weight ratio armours you can get. Obviously I can't use the helm because I need the silver tier helmet to get me up to 20 arcane so I can use my weapon and my spells, but definitely an upgrade, and it looks good too. After a quick rest and a boost of inspiration, it was time to go. Unfortunately, you'll have to wait to see what happens next.